Doctor, Emma Taylor had spent her entire career studying the effects of isolation on the human mind. She had conducted countless experiments, using various methods to keep her subjects alone for extended periods. But this latest experiment was different. This time, she wanted to push the boundaries even further. The subject was a man named Jack, who had been chosen at random from a pool of volunteers. Emma had told him that he would be isolated in a small room with no windows, no phone, and no internet. He would be left alone for 6 months, with only his thoughts to keep him company. At first, Jack had been skeptical. He had asked questions about the experiment, about the purpose and the potential risks. But Emma had assured him that it was all perfectly safe, and that he would be rewarded handsomely if he completed the experiment without incident. As the days turned into weeks, and the weeks turned into months, Jack began to feel a sense of unease. He had expected this, of course. He had read about the effects of isolation in the literature, and he knew that it could lead to madness. But he had also expected to be able to cope, to find ways to occupy himself and keep his mind sharp. But as the days turned into weeks, Jack started to feel like he was losing himself. The room seemed to shrink, the walls closing in on him with every passing day. He tried to read, but the words blurred together on the page. He tried to sleep, but his mind was racing with thoughts and worries. And then, one day, something strange happened. Jack woke up to find a piece of paper on his desk. It was a note, scribbled in hasty handwriting. The message was simple: "You're not alone." At first, Jack thought it must be Emma's doing. She had told him that she would send someone to check on him every week or so. But as he looked around the room, he realized that no one else was there. The note seemed to have appeared out of nowhere. Jack searched the room frantically, but there was no sign of anyone. He was alone. But then, something else strange happened. Jack started to notice things. Small changes in the room, tiny details that he had never noticed before. The way the light reflected off the walls, the sound of the air conditioning humming in the background. It was as if someone or something had been watching him, studying him. And then Jack saw her. She was standing just beyond the edge of his vision, a shadowy figure lurking in the corner of the room. At first, Jack thought it was just his imagination playing tricks on him, but as he looked closer, he realized that it was real. The woman was tall and slender, with long silver hair and piercing green eyes. She seemed to be watching him, studying him, and Jack felt a shiver run down his spine. As the days turned into weeks, Jack became more and more obsessed with finding out who this woman was. He would catch glimpses of her out of the corner of his eye, but whenever he turned to look, she would be gone. It was as if she existed in a state of limbo, outside of the real world. And Jack started to feel like he was trapped in a dream, a nightmare from which he couldn't wake up. As the months dragged on, Jack's sanity began to fray. He became convinced that the woman was trying to communicate with him, to tell him something. But what? And then, one day, it happened. Jack woke up to find himself outside of the room. He was standing in a dark and deserted corridor, with no sign of the woman. But as he looked around, he realized that everything was different. The walls were a different color, the air conditioning seemed to be working differently. And then Jack saw her again. This time she was standing right next to him, looking straight into his eyes. "You're free," she said, in a voice that was like music. "You've been free all along." As Jack watched, the woman began to fade away, disappearing into thin air. And when he looked around, he realized that everything had changed. The room was gone, replaced by a bright and sunny landscape. The sky was blue, the grass was green, and the trees were swaying in the breeze. Jack stumbled forward, feeling like he was walking through a dream. He had no idea where he was or how he got there. But as he looked around, he realized that it didn't matter. He was free. And as he walked off into the distance, Jack knew that he would never be alone again.